she was full on screaming. Like, if you want me to stop smoking, you just ask me to stop smoking. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part 1 in a series of storytime videos just with apartment / roommate horror stories. So today I'll be telling you the story of the time that there was a wild party at my apartment and I had to call the cops. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy and stay subscribed to my channel. I upload new videos every Friday, so make sure you ring the bell down below so that you don't miss another video. So let's get into it. Okay, to start off with, I'm just going to give you some background. So this happened in probably March, April, May of last year. I'm not real sure, but I know it was around that time. And I was living with 3 roommates in this particular apartment. And I'm not going to name names or location or any of that, just to respect, you know, privacy and whatever. So I won't be naming any of that sensitive information. But this happened one night. I came home from something. It might have been dinner with my boyfriend at the time and his family. That's probably what it was, or it might have been a date with my boyfriend. I'm honestly not sure. But we came home and he was walking me into my apartment, and we got inside the door. Well, even before we got inside, we could hear all the music. So we get inside and we're just like, oh my gosh. Like, there was a ton of people there. Besides my 3 roommates, there was like 10 other people at least. It was a full house, and mind you, this apartment has rules about how many guests you can have and all that kind of thing. So they were, you know, overloaded, clearly. So I'm like, this is insane. So everybody's dancing and they're drinking and there's like, they're smoking. I'm like, this is unacceptable. Like, I can't deal with this. So we went into my room and we discussed, like, what do we do? And I don't remember if we got advice from either of our parents, like encouraging us to call the cops, or if we made that decision on our own. But we were like, we need to call the cops because, you know, smoking is a violation of the lease, and I'm pretty sure it's a violation to have this many people. Plus, I'm pretty sure, I think at least 2 out of 3 of my roommates were underage and there was alcohol involved. So I think one of them had just graduated high school, so she was probably like 18, and the other one I think was maybe like 19 or something. I don't know. And I don't know how old the 3rd one was, but there was alcohol, you know. And so I'm like, we need to call the cops. So we call the cops and they're like, you know, 911, what's your emergency? And I told them, and I asked, you know, will this be anonymous? Like, I don't want to start a beef with anybody here. And they were like, yes, you know, we can keep it anonymous, you know, unless you choose to say anything, like the cop will keep, the officer or whatever will keep it anonymous. So we got that done, and we just sat outside to wait for the police to come. Now, I know what you might be thinking, like, why didn't you like tell somebody to stop? Yeah, well, no, because I mean, you cannot get through to a house full of drunk high college students. There is no way any one of them would have listened to me. And it's late at night, like they're not done anytime soon. This is basically pretty much a rave. This is insane. I'm like, there's no way anyone's gonna listen to me if I try to put a stop to this. So we just go outside and we wait for the cops. They show up and we talk to them about what's been going on and whatever. And they go in with, I think they had a body cam on and whatever. And so they go in and they talk to everybody. And they came back out. It didn't take long. They came back out. They were like, we didn't say anything about who it was. Like, as long as you don't say anything, you know, they're not gonna know it was you, but, you know, the party's over, everybody's clearing out, whatever. So we're like, let's just wait a little bit before we go back inside, because we don't want anybody to figure it out. So I think at that point we went to a gas station and just got some drinks. And I was crying, I was upset because, you know, it was just bad. They were, you know, smoking and drinking, and the place was uninhabitable. So we got back after, we waited like a half an hour, you know. Well, then we get back inside and it's cleared up and everything, but we see what appears to be marijuana, I believe, on the table. And we can see where they like took a cigarette or a cigar, I don't remember which one for sure, and you can see where they like unrolled it and took the tobacco out and put weed in instead. And so my boyfriend at the time he took some pictures, and someone who was still there, like one friend who was still there, saw him and was like, wait, what's going on? And she kind of put two and two together that we were the ones that called the cops. And he was just like, oh yeah, you want a piece of me? Yeah, we called the cops. I was gonna just be like, try without lying, because I'm not that kind of person. I was gonna try to just not let on that it was us, whatever. They got so mad because clearly they were still under the influence of alcohol. So my one roommate, she was full on screaming. Like, if you want me to stop smoking, you can just ask me to stop smoking. You know, and my boyfriend was standing up for me, and she's all like, you know, he doesn't live here, you do, like, he doesn't have rights, whatever. And I'm like, excuse me, yes he does, you know, when it comes to my safety. She's like, you could have just asked me to stop smoking. And I stopped, and I was like, yeah. Or you could just like not smoke in here because it's against the lease. And I mentioned, you know, I have birds. I've got birds in my room. And this one girl, she was just like, oh, what's gonna happen to the birds? I almost lost it. I was like, we need to get out of here before I just lose it. Like, you do not mock my pets like this. I'm like, I don't know legal stuff with animal cruelty. I don't know if she could have been, I'm just like, you know, I don't know what would have happened. Like, what if your cigarettes or weed or whatever killed my birds because they inhaled it, you know? I'm like, this is, so we left, and we just went to my boyfriend's for the night. Our parents knew what was going on. I slept on his couch and he slept in his bed. So we slept separately, you know, and yeah, so we had plans. We told his mom, and like the next day she was like, I'll even go with you guys to the office, like, you need to report this, whatever. Well, the next day I was back home, and I was so scared of like having to be with my roommates now. Like, they know I called the cops. Well, it was that night, I think, the next night after this happened, my roommate, the one that was screaming at me, she wanted to talk to me, and she asked my boyfriend to leave. She wanted to just talk to me alone, so you can wait outside, whatever. So he left and waited outside. He didn't really want to, but I'm like, it's okay, I'll call you back in. You know, and so she was talking to me, and she told me, she was like, I'm under the impression that it was you who called the cops. And I was like, and I'm internally going, yeah, and you screamed at me for it. And that's when I realized, because I will throw this out there, I don't drink, I don't really know much about how all the alcohol affects your system. So I'm just like, what in the world? Like, she screamed at me last night. She full on screamed at me and my boyfriend. And then I realized, wait, she was like wasted and doesn't remember any of it. Like, oh my gosh. So I was just like, yeah, I did. And I mentioned someone screaming at me, but I'm like, I'm not, clearly she's coming to like admit she was in the wrong and all this. Like, I don't want her to feel bad. Like, she's going to feel terrible if I remind her that she screamed at me. So I'm just like, yeah, you know, I was as nice as I could be. And she, you know, talked to me about everything. She said they got, I guess it was like a noise violation. She said it was like a $250 noise violation. And she was like, we'll take care of it. And, you know, she was basically acknowledging, this is on us, this is our problem, you know. And she was saying, like, she told me, you never should have called the cops because we never should have let this party get to that point. So she was acknowledging, like, this is our fault, and she was like, you know, she didn't have anything against me for what I did, and she made sure, like, you know, this is your apartment. I don't want you to feel like you're not welcome here. Which was exactly what I was worried about, because of like her having a beef with me or something. I'm like, I'm not gonna be welcome here now that they all know I called, you know what I'm saying. So I was very relieved at this point that she was, you know, making sure I still felt welcome. And she's like, you know, your boyfriend, he's still welcome. You know, I don't want either of you to feel like you can't be here after what happened. So thankfully, everything kind of got resolved, and there was no lifelong like animosity or anything about what happened. And yeah, so everything was good after that. So that is the story time of when there was a wild party at my apartment. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and make sure you stay subscribed to my channel and ring the bell so that you don't miss future videos. And stay tuned next week for part 2 of this little mini series of my apartment horror stories. Bye guys.